and welcome to the Postmodern Art Podcast, the podcast dedicated to giving artists who are wowing the world over the platform they deserve. I am your host, Nathan Ragland, and I just gotta say, it is wonderful to be back for my little tiny break that I needed to take. I've been a little burnt out, but I am back, and I can easily say that there's no more clowning around. Unless we're talking about today's guest. Today's guest is Baphomet The Clown, an animator, cartoonist, and, as I said earlier, clown of the wonderful poundtownhound, making her own incredible indie animated short film, Sinking Road. Baphomet was one of those talents that I got to be exposed to early on in the year when there was a indie animation pitch night going on. Seeing Sinking Road and knowing that Baphomet was doing this all by herself and continuing to follow up and see just how much of a ball of energy Baphomet was, I knew this was going to be a fantastic episode to have, especially considering the fact that this episode is premiering on Indie Animation Day. I wanted to be able to be a part of that in one way or another, so I thought what better way than to highlight an incredible indie animator doing something incredible. And that's why I think you guys are going to absolutely love today's episode. If you enjoy Baphomet, please make sure you support her in the links down in the description below. I mean, seriously, all the stuff that she is doing, she is just a ball of energy, as you will soon see when this episode does start. If you enjoy the podcast, make sure you like, share, subscribe, or follow whatever audio streaming platform you prefer. Leave 5 stars wherever you can. I see that stuff. You know I love it. If we'll go a little bit further with that support, maybe we should consider going to the merch shop at Fourth Wall. I'd say the entire link, but it's just better to go to the description below. We have some incredible designs done by some amazing artists that I know you would look fantastic in today. But now, without further ado, please enjoy the Postmodern Art Podcast. Thank you once again for sincerely doing this. Like I said a million times before, you were someone that whenever I first saw your thing, I was instantly amazed with every aspect of what you're doing. So the fact that I got you on this podcast is an honor for me as much as it is for you.
Oh, thank you. It really means a lot. It's the first podcast interview I'm ever doing, so I'm a little nervous.
Hey, don't be nervous about more. This isn't gonna be some intense 2020 high intensity I need to know every single detail about this little thing. No, the whole
tell me everything.
I do want you to tell me everything, but this is meant to be more like a calm, cool, casual conversation where you get to talk about the stuff that you're doing.
Give me your social security number.
Okay, not that much of we'll do that after we get done recording, all right?
Oh yeah, yes, of course.
I mean, how else am I going to be able to send you my exorbitant prize for appearing on this podcast?
Exactly. You need my credit card and the funny free numbers in the back.
The 3 wacky digits on the back.
Yeah, the wacky digits.
Goodness. I cannot tell you. Sorry, just testing out my little camera. All right. I cannot tell you how excited I am for this. And I knew, even just from the little taste from the indie animation pitch night or whatnot, I knew this was going to be a little fun interview. All right.
I'm so glad. I also brought a good friend.
Beautiful. We love to see it. Yes.
Yes.
I just needed to make sure that because Discord has their little noise suppression thing. I just needed to make sure that we can hear it,
exactly.
We can hear it loud and clear. Oh, so wonderful.
That's super good.
Goodness. Let's see. What do we want to... And by the way, also, I am honored the fact that hearing that this is your first podcast to appear on because, like I said, especially with the indie showcase, you only had 15 or 20 minutes to showcase your stuff or whatnot. And that was specifically about Sinking Road. I can only imagine with however much time you want to take for this podcast, all the stuff we can delve into.
I'll take the 10 hours, please.
Oh, okay. I'll just start a new little mini-series for that one, multiple weeks for that one. I gotta make that perfectly.
No, we're doing it in one night, okay? 24 hours. Let's go. We're doing it. No need to sleep. It's all right.
It's you think we can't come up with stuff to talk about? Try us.
Try me. I have autism. I can do it.
Oh, we're already off to a great start. We hadn't even been really recording.
Yeah, you probably haven't even started recording.
No, actually, I was gonna say I am recording this little intro bit is to help like sync up my audio, so I can go ahead and have it synced up. If it is okay with you, can I include bits of this as part of the like video as part of the podcast, like the final thing?
Of course you can.
Wanted to make sure.
Anything you think is funny, just keep it in. I'm okay with that.
Perfect. All right, Baphomet. Before we really get going, I must ask the icebreaker question of the podcast, if I may. Let's say you get to go to a desert island on your own accord. It's just you alone with your thoughts. You get to kick back, relax, breathe. Get to truly enjoy yourself for a little bit. With accommodations, you're not stranded on this island, trust me. To make sure you don't go completely, well, I would say insane, but I mean, look at you. I think we're already to make sure you don't go stir crazy on this island, you can bring one piece of media or one piece of art with you to help with whatever headspace you want on this island. If given this opportunity, what would that one piece be?
I have thought about this.
Okay.
And I've decided, and this is going to be very specific, but yeah, I will bring the movie Charlie and the Chocolate Factory from 2005.
Okay. We're already on an interesting path. All right. Now, obviously, right off the bat, the first question is why specifically the 2005 one and not the original like 78 one?
I'm gonna get a lot of backlash for this because I don't like it.
Okay,
I think it's kind of boring. Like I like Gene Wilder. I do. Absolutely. I really do. But there's something about the 2005 version. I think it's because of nostalgia. I specifically grew up with that one, and it just has shaped me in such a way. I love it so much. And I can rewatch it 50 times in a row and I won't get bored.
I'm scared to ask if you've tested that theory out, but I do want to say, like, I can get where you're coming from by saying how the original makes you feel. Like, for some people, it's kind of a product of its time more than anything else.
Yeah.
And especially, like, that 2005 one. Like, yes, it was weird, but this is also, like, Tim Burton working with Johnny Depp. If you did not expect weird, what did you expect?
Exactly. And the weird is what I love. It's a weird dystopian industrial but crazy. It's so cool. I love it. It's everything that I love and more.
Absolutely. I mean, like, I'm even thinking about, because I watched that film. Like, I mean, obviously I watched the original one before the new one, I will say, or the 2005 one. But like, even then, like, still watching it, like, you know, I do have that little bit of nostalgia because of just how, like, it's so unique. It's such a perfect little bubble of unique and weird and such. And it was especially in that time in like the mid 2000s or whatnot, to where you just had just the weirdest films being presented out there. And
exactly.
Because there's like the Cat in the Hat film, like live action film or whatnot, and like that's just like unique, weird.
Yeah, exactly. That's the sort of stuff I love. And it got so much backlash and everything, but it's like, I love that stuff. I grip onto it. The weirder, the better. I love it.
and now I'm curious because they're now doing that like Wonka prequel film starring Timothy Chalamet or whatnot. I'm interested to see how that one is going to be different from the previous two. Hopefully for the better. Still weird, but hopefully for the better.
It looks almost like it's gonna be a mix of the two, but also I like to think that all three of them are basically sort of their own iterations of the same book. So it's like not like you compare each movie with each other, right, but rather like how they adapt the book, or like, you know, which one you prefer more. It's sort of like different universes. So I'm excited to see if they base it more on like the different iterations that's already been made, like the films, or if they just go back to like the book and like go from that.
Is there like I know there's obviously the OG, like, you know, Willy Wonka and or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory like book or whatnot, but did they ever do like a prequel? Did Ronald Dahl ever do like a prequel one ever examining like before he got the factory?
I don't think he did.
I know he did I know he did at least like one or two like book sequels to it, because I remember reading one of them like about the like, because I remember one of the plots of it was like his grandparents ate like some candy that was like made you either older or younger, and like some of the ones that like they ate or whatnot made them to where they were negative 96 years old or something like that.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I remember reading that book. I'm like, what in the world did I get myself into?
Yeah, I actually haven't really looked much into the books myself. I want to like collect them.
Okay.
But I haven't really gotten my hands on them yet. At least not here in Sweden. It's hard.
I can imagine. But nevertheless, the 2005 classic Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. That is your answer. You're locking that in.
Yes, heart of stone.
Then if that's the case, I cannot think of a better way to start the Postmodern Art Podcast. Welcome, everyone. I am your host, Nathan Ragland. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, or follow whatever audio streaming platform you prefer. You should check out the brand new merch shop. Go check the link in the description below. I'd say the link, but it's a mouthful just to say it. And follow us on Instagram and most social media platforms, probably not Twitter or X or whatever it's going to be becoming at this point, at Postmod Art Pod for future updates and guest announcements, including today's guest. She is an animator, cartoonist, and musician of Poundtownhound, clowning her way through her own self-animated projects, such as the upcoming Sinking Road. Welcome to the podcast, Baphomet The Clown! Yes, and you brought the horn!
Yeah! I had to! Also, tip of the hat from me, since I can't put it on. A tip of the hat.
Yeah, tip of the hat. Oh, here, 1 second. There you go. A tip to the hat to you as well.
Yes. It's not as high as mine, so.
Well, I cannot tower over you right now, okay? Because I think you're doing incredible stuff right now. There you go.
It's very tall. It's very tall. It's like my head.
Jeez, I didn't even realize that. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing pretty well. Just sort of nervous. I mean, it's my first interview, so obviously very, very nerve-wracking, and I'm like,
I can understand where those nerves are coming from, but I just want to say right off the bat, if it helps the nerves, like I'm also kind of as nervous as you because, like, again, you were someone that I have been keeping an eye on their art and I've been admiring just exactly all that you've been able to do because you've been doing some like incredible stuff all by yourself regardless. That's the part that like impresses me. And we'll definitely talk about the biggest thing that you're going to be doing by yourself with the exception of obviously the voice talent you've brought on and such. But before we really divulge into obviously before we can pave the road for the stuff that you're doing right now, I want to go back just a little bit and learn more or less the origin story of Baphomet. What got you interested in art and animation in the first place?
Well, I grew up on very classic Disney animation. My parents would show me all the 2D animations and everything. I grew up with that. Plus, I grew up with Silly Symphonies and all that sort of like old goodness stuff. I think I got exposed to that sort of stuff very young, so like 3 years old, all that stuff.
Okay.
I grew up with it. I know that the movie Alice in Wonderland was especially a huge inspiration for me, and so that was one that I would watch constantly. Every time it would be on TV, I would watch it. I also watched a lot of Nickelodeon and a lot of Disney Channel. I didn't actually have Cartoon Network, yet I did grow up with some Cartoon Network shows.
Okay.
I think I had them on VHS, and I think that's why.
That's fair.
Also, I watched on YouTube because I was actually exposed to the internet pretty early, like around 8 years old or so.
I am so sorry.
Yeah. No, it's okay. I'm over that now.
There you go. I did want to go back a little bit and touch upon the one that you kind of said definitely had one of the biggest impacts on you. That's obviously Alice in Wonderland, as you said. Now,
yeah.
I know we could definitely talk about how that influences some of the more current stuff you're working on, but I just have to know, what was it about Alice in Wonderland that just like captured your imagination in the first place?
I think just the fact that it doesn't make sense. And as growing up and feeling sort of, because I felt very not included in any group because I had my own special interests and being autistic, I was also very in my own world. So I didn't really have a lot of people that I could relate to. And so the sense of whimsy and the sense of like fantasy that it takes you on, especially like not really explaining what's going on, but just sort of taking you on this fun ride where you meet wacky characters doing wacky things. It was something that I really, really love.
I mean, especially the cast of characters introduced in that Alice in Wonderland in the first place. Like, goodness, that was.
Yeah. The diversity is insane. Like,
Yes.
they're all mad. They're all mad, but they're all diverse and different, and everyone has a different favorite character. And that's like also something that really inspired my work, is like just like having like everyone being so diverse, and sort of like somebody clings onto one of them because it's like the way that they're portrayed, or the way that they're like, you know, like talking, or what they're doing is it resonates with them, or like that's their favorite kind of insanity.
Absolutely. And with that, I must also say a happy unbirthday to you too.
Oh, that's a good impression. Yes.
I dabble here and there, though I'm not that. I dabble.
Yeah, no, that was amazing. Oh
Thank
my
you.
god.
So-
I wish I could, but being a girl is like the range isn't as much there.
I'm sure if you wanted to, I'm sure if you could get some like vocal training or something like that. Like, I'm sure it's not
A very merry on birthday.
Yeah, that's not too bad. That was really not that bad. It's not as bad as you think.
Awesome. That fuels my ego.
There you go. I think that's just the purpose of this podcast at this point. Let's fuel that ego just a little bit more, shall we? There you go.
Yes. Like me. Ooh.
So, obviously, we have a really great foundation with both some of the animation and cartoons and stuff that really inspired you, as well as obviously the insanity that lies beneath or whatnot. So,
Yeah.
when did it go from just like a general love to animation stuff like that to a passion and wanting to make it your career?
It was when I discovered DeviantArt. It tends to be the sort of, you know, the place that most artists around my age kind of lead to.
Mm-hmm.
But it was around DeviantArt where I started to realize that I really want to make my own world, and I want to make my own characters.
Okay.
But when it comes to making my own films, funny enough, that actually goes a little ahead, or like a little farther back.
Okay.
When I was around 11 years old, and this is really funny because these videos are still up on YouTube.
Okay.
When I was 11 years old, I made a channel called War Zero Isabel with my brother.
Okay.
They are really stupid stick figure animations where we scream into basically Xbox microphones in Swedish. The most stupidest like work ever, but it does still exist on YouTube, and I always go back to it. It is so goddamn funny to me because it's like just 11-year-olds having fun. And that's where I basically started making stories, even though they were, you know, obviously not the best stories. It's like that's sort of where like I grew the passion of making stories. So it sort of started there. Then I discovered like animation on DeviantArt, and I was like, I want to do more of that. Like I want to actually, instead of having stick figures standing still, I actually want to have them move.
Right. I will say, you said, like, I mean, I can tell that you still like love the old stick figure stuff because it's just like, I guess, a product of its time. I guess would be the best way to put it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I always tell people about that specific part. There's a lot of like parts in my past I don't like to reminisce about, but
Right.
that part is so funny to me. I think it's because I was so young and innocent that it was like, it's so fun to look back on, and I love it. And it's also just as insane, pretty much.
I mean, we all have to get our start somewhere, and we all have to put out that one video that at the moment was like the funniest thing possible, but we look back and we realize, oh yeah, no, I've done so much better since then.
I thought I was gonna be the next PewDiePie with that content. I'm telling you that. I thought I was gonna become famous. Me and my brother and my friends were talking about what are we gonna do when we get to Hollywood. Oh my god, are we gonna have to say bye to mom and dad?
Oh goodness, I appreciate you already dreaming big right off the bat. I love that for you.
I think iCarly also like manipulated my mind into thinking I could do that.
That's you know what, that's valid, especially in fact the reality it kind of projected on how it is to just instantly become internet famous.
Exactly.
But I like. Regardless, like I'm happy to know that like especially from the start, like animation was still like a major part. Like obviously it started, when you were watching animation, you made the stick figure animation or whatnot, and then we get to DeviantArt, and I can only imagine like the cursed door that opened up whenever you went through there. Like I can only imagine how much did DeviantArt more or less reinforce how badly you wanted to be an artist and animator.
Oh wow, I think getting like that small attention from like people like looking at your characters and sort of like actually talking about them or like like wanting to engage with them, even though it was a very very small like friend community at the time on DeviantArt. It was incredible, and I was like, I can do this. Like I can make something that not just I want to do, but also that like other people like love, or like if I love doing what I'm doing, then like maybe other people will like it too. And it's like that sort of opened up doors for me and everything. So it started like my passion for that started pretty early.
Good. I'm glad.
But I don't think I started animating more professionally and seriously. I guess professionally, but like, like more, I guess, seriously and less like, I'm just doing this for shits and giggles. It's like, I think around like, when I was like 15 years old was when I actually started like looking into how to animate rather than just, doing it freehand and everything. Like I actually like looked at like, YouTube videos and stuff like that, delving into it.
That's fair. I mean, even then, like, like you said, having that kind of attention to your character and stuff like that, like I can see how that like starts to like grind the gears more or less in your brain of like, oh wow, I can actually make this a reality. I can actually do stuff with this rather than just make silly little stuff for that I enjoy or whatnot. Like you can actually
exactly
feasibly make that a career. Which is why I love when there are platforms available out there that sort of encourages art in one way or another, or that's part of the reason why I wanted to make this podcast, to encourage others. Hey, you're doing incredible stuff, keep up the incredible work. Like
you're doing incredible stuff by doing this. Like seriously, it's incredible that to get a platform to speak on and also meet other people that do the same thing you do. It's awesome. Honestly,
I appreciate the kind words, but you don't need to flatter me. You're already on the podcast.
Hey, I can't help it. I if somebody compliments me, I gotta like compliment back. Otherwise, I feel too bad.
Well, in that case, wait till the end of the podcast where I just shower you with nothing but compliments.
I'll cry. My makeup gone.
Jesus. When you were on DeviantArt, at least like in the heyday of like DeviantArt, like. Is that at the point where you start to develop some of the unique characters that you kind of developed or whatnot? Like when did you start really creating these interesting characters that you started to develop that we'll definitely delve a lot more into here in a bit?
Well, all the characters I have now, they came later. Okay. A lot of that is like past me because I'm like, you dwell into things and then you kind of realize that's not where I want to go, and you kind of like test the grounds around there.
Okay.
But then, or it's like you improve in general because it's like artists improve all the time. It's just what happens.
That is very true.
Yeah, oh man, I think at least for like the main characters and everything I have now, like the ones I shove in people's faces, I've had for around like I'd say like 3-4 years now, around there. So yeah,
that's out. That's
I would say 4 or 5, maybe even. It depends on the character.
That is true. That is very true. And again, we'll definitely delve a lot more into some of those characters because you have quite the rogues gallery, if I do say so myself.
Oh yeah.
But okay, so you talk about how you want to like improve as an artist or whatnot. So I have to ask, when it comes to the animation aspect, the thing that I certainly know you best for more than anything else, like, is that something you've like solely taught yourself? Like just all like, obviously like looking at videos, stuff like that. Like, have you gone to school for this kind of stuff, or are you like as much self-taught as possible when it comes to animation?
I am like 99% self-taught, I would say, because I tried to go to a school here in Sweden, high school actually, that is like specifically for animation and stuff, and they did traditional animation, light tables, everything. You know, and so I got to learn that. That was really cool, but I only went one semester. And then I realized I couldn't handle it because I had to live in a dorm when I was 15 because it was so far away from me. And it was just way too stressful. So I actually dropped out of high school. But that's perfectly fine to me because I pretty much learned everything online, and that's fine with me. It works.
I mean, especially on today's internet, to where everything is out there. If you really wanted to, so you could dig and find just really self-teach yourself how to do this stuff. I mean, obviously,
yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I imagine, obviously, like you said, like having that experience with like the light tables and like the physical thing, it was cool or whatnot. It just wasn't for you.
Oh yeah, exactly. And honestly, I do want to buy myself a light table. Expensive though, but it would just be for fun. Like kind of just like I wouldn't actually want to animate real stuff on it, like an actual movie. But I do want to animate like for fun on it because it's a fun medium. Like it's fun to like do paper and pen. It's like
it's a great medium more than anything else. So I mean, I have to know, obviously, like, you know, you deeply invest yourself when it comes to just animation to teach yourself up to this point or whatnot. What exactly drew you to animation to be the way to kind of creatively tell your story? Like, what was it about animation that made you like, this is the way for me to tell my story?
Well, first of all, the movies I grew up with, but also funny enough, I think anime was what actually got me into being like, I want to do this. Because when I first started drawing, I was kind of most inspired by like anime, which is really silly to see now because it's like very cartoony. But that's because of the whole like how to draw anime books and stuff like that.
But, memories right there.
But because like all the story, like the variety in stories and anime and stuff, like there's just literally genres and anime for anything. Right. So it's like, I think that like got me inspired to be like, maybe I can do something like that. But then also I looked on YouTube and I saw other people doing like small animations or indie animations and stuff. And I was like, wow, I want to do that.
That's fair. Do you remember any of those like indie animated like YouTube stuff that was like the tipping point for you, like being like, well, if they could do that, I could totally do that?
Oh man, well, Surreal is one of my biggest inspirations. Oh, I love him, and I love watching his like YouTube shorts. Everything, like, and Monkey Wrench now when that's out, I'm watching that so much. It's great.
He is someone I would love to just have on the podcast just for a simple conversation.
God.
He would be a dream, especially like what he has done beforehand and what he has done now or whatnot. Like he's like if it was more profitable, he'd be living the life. I will say that.
Yeah, straight up. And because you know, like I grew up with some of his like older videos and everything, and I was like, I want to do that so bad. And his style inspired me a lot. And I just, oh my God, if he were to know about my existence, I think I'd explode.
You know what? Honestly, valid, and I'm like that with like at least over half of the guests I bring on this podcast. The fact that they even know about me, like I'm like, hi, I'm here.
Hey, I'm still shocked you got caught on your podcast. Okay, I'm
sorry. Say that again. Your mic cut out for like a second there. Who would you say?
Cosmo. I just can't believe you got. Yeah.
Okay. The funny thing about that is, it was so easy. Like, okay, you recently got a commission from Cosmo, right?
Yes.
How did you get that commission? You asked them, right?
Yes.
Same way I was able to get them on the podcast.
They're so easy to talk to. It's great.
That's the situation for a lot of these artists. Like, people are always like intimidated, being like, "Hi, you're really cool," but like, just simply saying a hello or whatnot can open so many doors, and like asking them.
It's like I should know, because I have people telling me they're super scared to message me. And I'm like, I'm not scary, I promise. I love being messaged. But then it's like, I'm the same way with people that I think are way above me. I'm like,
I think that's just forever the eternal like artist problem more than anything else. It's
exactly.
Like we're surprised when people acknowledge us, and we're scared to acknowledge other people.
It's crazy now being friends and mutual people that you looked up to. It's insane. Right? That's one thing I love about this like indie animation community. It's just like we bring together, and it's like, oh gosh, I love it.
Trust me, like I'm like that with like not only with some of the indie people that you've met as well, but like obviously like some of the other guests I've like, you know, I grew up like watching some of their like previous content, or like one of the, like my favorite examples, I grew up watching a specific show that was on Cartoon Network called Class of 3000, and then early in the podcast run, I got to talk to the guy that directed the entirety of that show.
Oh my god!
Exactly.
That's insane.
Yeah. No, trust me. And I imagine, especially for you, like you were saying, like being in this indie animation field, like obviously, like, you know, like I said, you're trying to be in that field as well. So like meeting some of these other artists, especially some of them that you probably look up and admired or whatnot, if nothing else, like I imagine it gives you like that extra dopamine rush to like really work hard on your own stuff and really push forward to make that a reality.
Yeah, I mean, being followed by even like one of the voice actors of the Cuphead game, I was like, oh, like even just a voice actor of something that I absolutely adore. I'm like,
I'm so glad you brought up Cuphead, and you previously mentioned how Zuriel, or how do you pronounce his name? Jesus. How they influence your style, because that's something I definitely want to emphasize, because your style is one of the most unique ones I have seen out there when it comes to some of the indie anime stuff. Like, it gives me kind of like both a throwback vibe, because I feel like it's very close to that Rubber Hose style, but also kind of like a fun little like, you know, unique modern take that like I don't normally see. What exactly influenced and inspired you to go with the style that you go with your art and animation?
Oh wow. Well, Alice in Wonderland again. It's like that whole Disney style. But then also when Cuphead came out, I was absolutely crazy over it, to the point where I was just like, yep, this is another thing I want to add to the catalog of my mental inspiration. And I took a huge, you know, like I took huge inspiration from that after it came out. And so, you know, it honestly, it's weird because I feel like my style is a hybrid of everything I love. Sort of meshed together into a ball.
Isn't that just every animation style ever?
Pretty much. Yeah. But it's hard to say, pinpoint exactly where like my styles come from. Just those two, and like just here and there bits and pieces. It's like just meshed together, and it's just like a concoction of weirdness. That somehow people love it though. So
I'm sorry, if the cacophony of weirdness is not somewhere in your bio, either on your Twitter or on your YouTube, then I am disappointed in you.
I'm sorry for disappointing. I will make that change immediately. I'm gonna make an apology video, and
you know what? I might just make Cacophony of Weirdness just the title of this episode, because that just seems like
Cacophony of Weirdness. Yes, please.
Jesus.
That's something I would title one of my stories, honestly.
Oh, there you go. And I well, obviously, and like, you know, you were talking about like what exactly is something that influenced your style and whatnot. And like I said, like at least for me, like I get a lot of like the classic like 1930s like Rubber Hose style whenever I see some of your animation, your art or whatnot. And I can see how much like obviously that's very understandable, especially when you say Cuphead is probably one of the biggest influences on your art and stuff.
Yeah.
But there's another influence, at least when it comes to the characters, that we have yet to address, even though I have been talking to a clown this entire time. Baphomet, what is it about clowns that like you instantly gravitated towards? Why do you identify as a clown?
Because I've always loved clowns, even growing up. And like I don't want to make things too like, I guess, like sad or anything, but I do have a little sister who is multi-handicapped.
Okay.
She's in a wheelchair and like she can't talk, everything.
Okay.
So growing up, we would sometimes completely skip school because we would need to go to the hospital and stay there for a while.
Okay.
Because she was sick for long periods of time when we were growing up. And in that hospital, there are hospital clowns that take care of the kids there, and even like kids that just stay there for their sibling or just anyone they know. They also gave me a very positive outlook on clowns. Like just that sort of like, like seeing them walking in, I would always get excited. Even before then, I think I was really into clowns because of movies like Dumbo and everything. Like I just like the way they look. Like
no,
I just love the way they look, and I emphasize with them. That's why
there you go. That's a good way to word it. I mean, trust me, especially in the past, especially for the past like 5 or 10 years, like clowns have been getting like a really bad rap more than anything else.
Exactly. Come on. What have I done wrong?
I mean,
other than being absolutely insane, but
well, we've already addressed that, and I mean that's part of the reason why we decided to cling on to you. Anyways. but like obviously, like I can see, especially for a story like that, I mean it's something that I think I had seen in passing, at least when it comes to an inspiration with one of your characters and such, about your little sister and such. But like I didn't realize that like that was also like a major foundation for one of the things that honestly a lot of people would identify about you. So in fact, that's one of the biggest things that like you carry with you and you put into your own media. So like goodness.
Yeah, I mean, it comes from all over the place, but also just, I think because my sister has been a big influence in my life, it's just like a lot of my inspiration pulls from her, and a lot of my interest pulls from her, and like the experiences I've had there. So, yeah.
Well, I'm happy to hear that, despite everything, that she is still like a major part of your life and a major part of your art. That's honestly like inspiring more than anything else.
Thank you.
And if I have to, I'll edit this part out, but I'm just curious, how is your sister doing?
Oh, she's actually doing well. I was scared. I was scared some month-ish ago because then she got pneumonia again.
Oh goodness. Oh no.
She had to be put into the hospital again and everything, but she went well. It went well. Good. So she's fine now.
Good.
And that's good.
Because
you don't have to edit that out. That's perfectly fine.
The reason why I said that is because I was afraid if I asked that question, you were gonna be like, "Oh, she sadly passed away like 5 years ago." I'm like, "Oh dear God, I'm so sorry." Like I wanted to at least make sure it wasn't that tragic. Okay.
I will say this: the doctors suspected she was only gonna live some months. She's gonna turn 21.
Hell yeah!
This month.
That is incredible.
Yes, right? I am so proud of her. I love being her big sister. Oh my God, I love her.
That is incredible to hear, like, regardless, like, the fact that, like you said, everything that basically was going against her, like, she should not have gotten to this point, but yeah, here she is, like, probably better than ever.
Exactly. That's why I'm so inspired by her. Like, oh my God, I want that power.
Absolutely. So I'm obviously seeing that there's a good fire lit under you, like both with like the animation you grew up with and obviously the influences being a major part of it or whatnot. So I'm wondering when that is going to go back into how much of that you've also taken and conceptualized into some of the characters that you have presented. Now, I'll save the big ones for the big topic I want to talk about, but I want to talk about one of the biggest characters that you've presented more than anything else. What the hell is broccolina?
Hold on. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get some.
That scares me more. Oh God, it's her.
Yes, here she is. And not only that, but I also have her on my arm.
Oh goodness, she is that much. Okay, so obviously if she's that big of a character, please, for the people at home, describe who exactly broccolina is.
She is my all-time favorite character that I've ever made. She was actually born from a dream, funny
Okay.
She is part of a story that I actually am thinking that, and this isn't spoilers, like I've said this to like everyone, but I was thinking actually after Sinking Road I would get to that story.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm waiting is because it's my favorite story, so I want to kind of test the grounds with Sinking Road and then get to that one, and I'm like, you know. But Broccolina is the main character of that story, and she's just absolutely bonkers. She's basically an innocent girl turned into a lab experiment by an evil laboratory called Dream Lab.
Oh, interesting. Lovely. Wonderful. Nice.
Yes.
Nice to know that they took the innocence of a child and just made her just pure. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it gave her super speed.
I mean,
but
there's some
in exchange of trauma and you know, self-hatred and all that other stuff.
I think we all deal with that. That's just life at this point.
Fine, it's fine.
What is it about Broccolina for you that like you cling on to her like so closely? Because I knew she was a big prominent character for you. I didn't realize it was to the point to where you have her inked up on your arm.
Yeah, I have a straight up tattooed, but you know, I honestly have no idea. I think it's just because I really like love how insane and bonkers she is. Like she's just absolutely like unhinged in like the funniest way, and I love her for that.
Goodness, good. Like I can only imagine. I can only imagine, especially with like a character like that, especially with how unique you are. Just described just a little taste of her or whatnot. Especially for someone like yourself, who you know. See, obviously, again, I'm talking to a clown at this point. I can see how that connection can be made.
Yeah, exactly.
And especially some of the art you've been able to produce for her as well. Like that's one of the things I cannot get enough of. Whether it be just like you know a good general portrait of her, or just some of the silly memes that you make based off of her in one way or another.
Oh, there's way too many.
Do you personally? I know you said there's way too many, but do you have a personal favorite Broccolina piece?
Out of my own, I mean, I always go back to like just a gif of her running through the hall of Dream Lab, only because like I'm just proud of that one. I like that one. And yeah. But also it's like hard to say because I've also commissioned a lot of pieces of her. She's probably worth a lot of money at this point. But yeah, out of my own pieces, I would say that one's probably my favorite.
Yeah. I can see what you meant by she's definitely worth a lot, seeing obviously the statue you have on your table, your profile pic right now being one by commissioned by former guest Cosmo Perry and such. Like,
yeah,
I can understand that, but I also appreciate one aspect of it that I definitely want to touch upon with some of your other characters. You said that this character came to you in a dream. And there's one thing that I certainly tend to notice with a lot of your characters. Dreams seem to be like a major influence upon you. What's it about your dreams that like as soon as they happen, you have to be like, write that down.
They're just very vivid. I don't know why. I kind of know why. It was like around when I was like going to like therapy to get diagnosed with autism, I was having sleep paralysis, but not like the usual kind where like your eyes open and you're like still in bed. It was like the kind where I knew I was dreaming, but I couldn't wake up. So I kept like waking up in the dream and a loop, and it was horrible. But eventually, after that had been going on for a while, I realized the issue was that I was freaking out, and that's why I kept like waking up. So then I didn't freak out, and instead I lucid dreamed. Okay. But then eventually I couldn't lucid dream anymore because I was just sort of vibing in my dream world. And after that, I've just had super vivid dreams. So That's sort of the origin story of that.
I like how it went from just like this horrible like situation with like, you know, sleep paralysis and stuff to where like you're basically in like the worst version of Inception ever, to where you're just constantly waking up over and over again. You went from that and you turned it to, I'm making this my own thing. I'm owning up to this.
Exactly. I was like, no, sleep is one of the times I get to relax, is one of the times I get to chill. I'm gonna make it my own thing, and I'm gonna go into this world, and I'm gonna it overthrow it.
And I mean, the worlds you've been able to conjure up, especially like the fact that you've basically, correct me if I'm wrong, is this dream aspect of it how you came up with your own world known as Dworm?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That Dworm is like a huge part of my like. I feel like Dworm and Dumbledore traits in general are just like a huge part of my identity. But they sort of originated before the vivid dreams, but they for sure like expanded upon like after that whole thing, and after like the other influences came in and everything, and it was just.
It wasn't until we had the DEU, the Dumbledore traits extended universe, when they really became a thing.
Exactly. We gotta get a Super Smash Bros. On this, like.
Oh god, I'm just already imagining like what Broccolina's like freaking like alt smash would be or whatnot. Just like I imagine it'd be similar to like the Sonic with like the speeding back and forth or whatnot.
Super speed, yes.
So obviously I can see a lot of influence like with your creativity up to this point. Like I said, you know, like, the animation from the start, you know, being a part of the internet, especially the DeviantArt stuff, learning how to animate on your own, you know, expanding this whole entire universe with your dreams, which I'm just amazed by this. To say
Thank you.
Before I jumped into this big thing, I did want to ask one last thing. At least when it comes to the Dumbledore traits, is there a personal favorite character other than Broccolina from the Dumbledore traits that you've created?
Well, I have him inked on too. Okay. It's Boris. My little baby man, basically. Okay. He's just so cute, and I love him, and he's very inspired off of my sister, so that's also another reason why I really love him. He's my second favorite. I usually tend to say, like, yeah, he's my second favorite character of all time. He's so cute.
He's the one that's the most personal to you.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, Broccolina, I don't she's just a little unhinged in the corner.
Well, Broccolina is like the favorite. Broccolina is the one that like
yes.
Broccolina is the one that you would go out and like smash mailboxes with. But like Boris is the one that you want to like chill out with and like enjoy like good music or something like that with. You know?
Exactly. It's like you have two friends that you really like love both of them, but like you interact differently with the two of them.
You interact differently with them. If you were to have those two interact with each other, all chaos would be unleashed.
Poor Boris. I don't think he would survive that encounter. He's so sensitive.
Goodness.
He'd just explode. Gone.
So again, considering everything that is kind of influence on your art and animation up to this point, at least obviously the big thing that I definitely want to talk about with you, and it is this major project that you've taken upon yourself to create, known as the indie animated film that you are working on, Sinking Road. Now, before I really divulge to what exactly it is, I have to know right off the bat, what exactly inspired this film in the first place? What made you want to... How did this story come to be? And how were you simply like, I have to make this a reality?
I'm gonna sound like a broken record. It was born from a dream.
Okay.
But the dream was very small. It was basically just... I had a dream that I was stuck to a road and drowned, and then it ended. Oh. That was the dream. So and I was like, yep.
So what you're saying is this film's only going to be like 30 seconds of just like you seeing
your feet. Exactly. End credits. No, I don't know what about it. I was like, yeah, I want to do a story out of this. But I think it was also because at that time, you know, Cuphead was pretty new.
Okay.
I was super influenced. I wanted to make something that's like that like is inspired off of Cuphead, the character design wise and story wise, you know, or like, you know, like just vibe wise, you know. And I was like, you know, I'll take that idea that I just dreamed, and I just started sketching characters, and it was just kind of born from that. But then also, like, I love making characters that are based off of different concepts.
Mm-hmm.
So I had looked up the Buddhist precepts,
Right.
the 8 Buddhist precepts. So then I was like, okay, I want to make characters off of that too. So that sort of mixed and matched it all into this hybrid, and that's just how Sinking Road was born.
You know, I think when most people would dream about drowning in their dreams, I'm sure they want to like try to move on, forget about that.
Yeah.
You took that as an opportunity to be like, wait, hold on, let me cook. I think I got something incredible.
I've had so many dreams where I'm like, I'm being chased by an insane bloodthirsty monster, and I wake up and I'm like, that's inspirational. I'm gonna make something out of that.
I'm glad you mentioned the whole entire Buddhist thing, at least when it comes to that, because that's something that I like. As I was doing my research, I noticed, because like it seemed to be like a major influence when it comes to the story or whatnot. But I've actually seen before that you posted that you're actually agnostic yourself. So what exactly is it about this like Buddhist story, you know, aspect of it that like you latched onto and wanted to make into your story?
I think when concepts can be like imagined in my head as anthropomorphic, it doesn't matter which, I guess, like part of the world or which religion or whatever it comes from. I'm just like super intrigued by that, and I want to put it down on, you know, like paper. And plus it's like I've always just like loved to look into like concepts, like religious concepts and everything. I just think it's intriguing. It's like I like it, you know. So yeah, plus I have like friends that all are like from different religions. I think that influences it too.
I mean, it was just a
getting
cool,
sort of inspiration from others.
It's always a cool aspect, especially whenever like an outsider is looking in on a certain concept that people hold near and dear or whatnot, and are able to find a way to like interpret it. So that's why whenever I saw that like that was a major part of this story or whatnot, I'm just like, that is intriguing. The fact that like you saw something like that and you're like, there's some storytelling elements that I could tell here.
Yeah, exactly. It's I find it in the places, but it is honestly really fun to like have people, you know, that believe in that religion like be like, oh yes, I know about that, or like you know, like be like, that's so cool. It's like I like that. It makes me happy.
There you go. So obviously we talked about elements of this story, but you know, there's going to be people that are watching this episode that have no idea what in the world we're even talking about in the first place. So, how would you describe this incredible concept known as Sinking Road?
Well, it is about a lady with a weirdly German accent named Dottie Duet. She gets pushed down into the water by an unknown assailant. And in the water, there is a golden road that sinks down with her attached to it. She thinks she's gonna die, so she passes out, but the road is magic. Takes her to an underwater village called the Sinking Road Village, pretty on the nose, that was built by the 8 Buddhist precepts of the worm.
Okay.
And in that world, she meets 2 twins that are adopted by the king, named Epi and Narco, the princes of Sinking Road. And together, they go about meeting all the precepts and, you know, waiting for the road to come back to take her home.
Okay. I mean, it's it's like right off the bat, just like already thinking about the stuff that influenced this thing, I could tell this was going to be an interesting story. And then I see some of the animation of it, and I'm instantly like, oh, this is going to be something else, like straight up. Like it's interesting, like the story that you have presented, and then the characters that you already introduced with this kind of stuff, like whether it be the Buddhist ones or obviously Dottie herself or whatnot. Like I just love these characters. These characters these characters that you have developed or whatnot are obviously like some of the shining examples of like some of the most creativity a character can possess. Like I'm just amazed with them more than anything else.
Thank you. Oh, that really means a lot because I do want them all to stick out in their own way. And just like be diverse, kind of like the influence of Alice in Wonderland, and like all of that. Just if I can make people look at them and be like, yes, I love these characters, that's all enough for me.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, especially considering the fact that, like, obviously, like, they each represent something uniquely different. Dottie is just, like, there's a lot of attitude and personality when it comes to her, to say the least, more than anything else. Like, how important was it for you to make sure that you, like, hit the mark just right, to make sure that these characters were each character you presented was truly unique?
Honestly, I just went with character archetypes that I found myself enjoy.
Okay.
And it's kind of like, like simple to say, I guess, but just like my thought process is just kind of like, if I enjoy something, then someone else will. So I take inspiration from like different movies and everything. And specifically with Dottie, I didn't really want her to be like the most typical female protagonist. I wanted her to sort of stick out and be just this really sailor-mouthed, angry with everything woman.
I was literally gonna say, you didn't want her to be the typical like lost damsel in distress. That's why you had her say fuck.
Oh, so many times. Oh my god. You know what? I'm super happy that her voice actor actually really enjoyed doing her role, because oh my god.
Well, I mean, whenever you get paid to do the opportunity to say fuck and shit so many times, you kind of just enjoy the job.
Specifically with the wonderful Nola Klopp, she voiced Dottie. She mentioned to me she does a lot of roles where that's not the case.
Yeah.
So she, doing Dottie is like, well, that's completely different. Unfiltered. You can scream, you yell, you say cuss words. It's great.
It's going to be sad whenever you decide for some reason, I'm going to do a PG version of this, and you just replace all
God, no.
I was going to say, if you ever decide to, I could just only imagine you can torture the audience by having all the censored swear words be the horn sounds. Like you're
yes! He's like, what the?
Exactly.
Nah, it's okay. My nephews, they cuss all the time, so I won't make a PG.
I mean, you've listened to this podcast enough. Hopefully, you've listened to this podcast enough to say that I fucking swear. I don't care. So I mean,
yeah, I cuss all the time. It's like fucking okay. No, fucking worry.
Hey, censor yourself, all right? You need to watch your fucking mouth. You understand me?
Okay, fuck.
Sorry, that's my bad. I'm fucking sorry. Ah, shit. Ah, fuck. God damn it.
Oh, shit. Oh. Well, off the air, guys. Sorry.
Well, I figured when it comes to, especially like some of the characters you presented or whatnot, like censorship has to be fucking impossible when it comes to this stuff. I imagine it's got to be most impossible, not only with Dottie, but like just looking at Tipsy. All right, the character Tipsy, like you cannot tell me that she does not utter at least 5 swear words every sentence. All right.
Oh my god, she cusses so much. Oh my god, it doesn't help that she like is also meant to like a young child, because like with my like interpretation of like drunk characters or like drunk people in general, you age down when you're drunk. So I'm like, yeah, she's just acting like a child. She's being a bratty, a sailor-mouthed kid, pretty much.
Honestly, that is a great way of looking at it, especially if you've ever like been to a bar around a bunch of drunks or whatnot. Like they're basically acting like children after a certain while. So that makes sense.
Pretty much. Yeah. So it's like that was basically my interpretation, because I don't like, people, and I don't like alcohol. So I was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna rub the shit out of it.
Oh goodness. Oh man.
Though I do love Tipsy as a character, but just I'm just roasting.
No, I mean like just it's fun to make fun of them. It's not fun to be around them, okay?
Oh yeah.
Goodness.
Dottie is really sick of
I can only imagine, especially seeing how she is just with the twins or whatnot. I can only imagine like having to deal with a actual child, basically a child. Like she should be like, just get the fuck away from me.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
You stay in your corner, I'll stay in mine.
Exactly. Just like, I just want to drink. I just don't want to. No. I just don't want to deal with them.
Totally. Yeah, no, I think there's a lost martini out in the corner right there. You might want to go grab it. Oh, goodness. And I mean, like, it's already impressive just the fact that you've developed such an incredible story and that you've created such incredible characters. But the thing that I am most impressed with when it comes to Sinking Road is that you're animating all of this by yourself. Like, please correct me if I'm wrong, because I've heard you say it before that you're animating this all by yourself. But are you literally doing this frame by frame, every single aspect, all the compositing and stuff like that? Are you animating this from start to finish all by yourself?
Yes.
Why would you do that?
I have too much free time. That's my issue. But also because, like, I really, really want to make this my passion, and I really want to make this my job. So and also, the more I animate on my own, the faster I'm becoming. So then my brain is like, you know what? If I keep animating like this on my own, then maybe I'll be able to shit out a movie in like a year. Especially when I'm like 50 years old.
I mean, you know, it's always nice to dream.
Exactly. Probably impossible, but one can dream.
Yeah, I mean, seeing what you've been able to produce with some of your other dreams, I can only imagine how much you can produce when it comes to that individual dream.
Yeah, I've worked on Sinking Road for 3 years now, all independently, and I do animate on it bit by bit almost every single day, but it is a slow go.
I mean, even then, like the fact that you said that this is something that you've been working on for 3 years. I mean, to put this in perspective, this podcast is not even 3 years old. Okay, so you've been working on this podcast started September. This podcast started September 2020. All right, so you've been working on this just a little bit longer than this podcast has been running. All right.
Wow, yeah.
And I cannot tell you the amount of times I've seen people online like trying to start something, but then they only get dismayed and stop doing it after like X amount of time. Like, what has kept you going for 3 years so far to just keep going and make this a reality?
Honestly, for every scene I finish, I'm like, first of all, I'm like, I just enjoy it. Because I think the thing is, I'm not 100% focusing on Sinking Road.
Okay.
And because I'm also drawing other characters from other stories on the side. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm uploading art on Twitter, you know, like stuff like that, like all this stuff. I think because I'm sort of leveling that, even though I'm doing Sinking practically almost every day, you know, it's like, because I'm have that balance of like, I'm doing something else now, or like, you know, other things, and I release other smaller like side things, you know, it sort of keeps me going, because like then I'm not going insane over. But also, I don't know. I just think it's fun.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird.
I can also imagine, especially for a story like this is one, obviously, I mean, 3 years aside, like, this is a story that I imagine you probably hold near and dear, and it's one that you truly do want to tell. I imagine that's also part of the reason why it's kept you going.
Yeah, because I know when it's done, it's going to be worth it. Yeah. Like, the more I release, like, for every teaser I release, I get more traction on it.
Yeah.
So that, and more eyes on it, and new eyes. And, like, that sort of keeps me going, because I'm like, wow, like, there's so many people that are actually looking forward to it. And, but even though it's already been, like, 3 years, like, I want to aim, and this isn't like a hard deadline, but I do want to aim for 25, like 2025. And that's because I am currently on scene 6 out of 10, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, you're halfway through at this point. There you go.
Yeah, I'm a little past halfway through now, and that's crazy to me.
And also, I just want to say, like, for the people at home that's like, oh, it's going to take them like 5 years just to make an animated short. This isn't going to be a short. This is a feature thing, basically, right? How long is this film supposed to be?
Like 50 minutes.
Yeah, 50-minute animated film just for you guys, all on her own. Put some respect on her name.
Hey, Cuphead took around that long, and that was a team. It's fine.
There was an animated film that my good friend Too Much Sasha recently showed me. It's called Junkhead. It's a stop motion animated film from Japan. Very unique story. It has like very like religious tones to it or whatnot as well. It was mainly one guy. I think he had like a couple of help for like certain aspects or whatnot, but it was mainly one guy that did every little aspect of that film. And
my god!
And it's a full-length feature film, and it took him 7 years to do that.
Oh, that's incredible!
Yeah. So, and it's also supposed to be like part of a trilogy too. He's only gotten the first film out there, so I'm wondering.
That's like, insane.
Yeah. So like if stop motion can take that long, especially when it's mainly one person doing it, I think we can understand if it takes 5 years for one person to animate a 50-minute film. All right.
Yeah, like it's crazy. Plus, like when you get used to animating for so long, a year doesn't feel long at all anymore. Like I'm just like, well, I can plan something now for next year or something. Like it doesn't feel that long anymore. It sort of goes by a breeze. Plus, there's other aspects that, you know, stops me from finishing the film in like 4 or 3 years. And that's like, you know, like personal life and travel. Right. Like, for example, my fiance lives in America.
So, oh, lovely.
Yeah. So I, you know, like want to visit it every year and just like everything. So that puts things on hold and everything. Like I have a life, you know, like pretty much. So it's like, it's not all I'm doing. But it's like, it really does mean a lot because I have had people like offering to help me, but I'm always like, I can't accept it only because I don't have payment or anything for what I'm doing. I don't want to like have people work for me for free, like with labor and everything. Plus I'm a horrible like person in charge. Like I stutter, I forget things. I'm only good with controlling my own work. I'm not good at keeping control of other people.
Honestly, you don't know how much I relate to that as well. Like, don't get me wrong, I do have people that help me out with this podcast, like a lot. Shout out especially to Tipsy J Hearts, the person that you saw in the Cosmo Perry video. She is a major influence and helps this podcast like infinitely more than anyone can ever imagine. However, when it comes to a lot of the base level stuff, when it comes to like planning certain things or like editing certain things or whatnot, like I feel more comfortable if I'm the one doing it because at least I have an idea how I want to do it. And if I'm going to bring someone else on to help me out with that stuff, I want to make sure that I can compensate them properly for it.
Yeah, for sure. And plus, I'm sort of like a perfectionist when it comes to my own vision. So I'm like, well, I want to get it my way, so what's the best way to do it? Do it myself.
Well, there you go. I mean, like, it's incredible thinking about all the different aspects that, like, if you look at just animation alone, I was talking about this with The Odd Ones Out, oddly enough, whenever I had him on the podcast.
Yeah.
Like, he had mentioned, like, you know, it's incredible that animation even exists in the first place, considering all the people that get involved in that kind of stuff, whether it be on the small scale like YouTube videos or on the big scale when it comes to like major production stuff like that. You're taking all those people and like doing all those responsibility and you're doing it yourself. I cannot help but both commend you but also like be deeply concerned about you.
Thank you. I promise I'm fine though. I'm honestly having the time of my life, and I'm not saying that like I'm putting myself on gunpoint or something, but I seriously am having the time of my life. It is, I'm super happy with and I honestly have a lot of fun doing it.
Good.
Obviously, there's aspects about animation that I'm like, I prefer other things. Like, I hate coloring my animations. If I could hire someone to do that, I would 100%. But it's like, I'll do it myself. I'll get used to it.
There you go. I mean, like, again, think of the different aspects, like just the general, like, storyboarding, rough animation, solid animation, the coloring, compositing, all this different aspect. You've also like taken upon yourself to both voice one of the characters, which good one for that one, but also like you're also doing all the music for it as well.
Yeah.
Like, we've been talking a lot about just like animation as a whole. When in the world did musician become part of your life as well?
I was messing around with a piano app when I was 15 years old, and then I was like, well, I guess I'm doing this as well. Like, I can't play an instrument. Like, I don't know how to play an instrument. I did go choir though, so I know how to sing a bit.
Well,
but I don't know how to play any instrument. I wish I could play the trumpet though. I think the trumpet. But
so you're kind of just going into this whole entire music thing blindly more than anything else.
Yeah, I just kind of put notes where I think it sounds good, and then I'm like, yep, this is music.
You know what? Nothing but respect. Nothing but respect.
I really have just like the simplest answers for all of these questions. I'm just like, yeah, I guess I just did that.
Hey, you know what? Again, whatever gets the job done more than anything else.
Everyone has these like huge like things they went through, hurdles and everything. I'm like, well, I did something weird when I was 15, and now that's just what I'm doing, I guess.
Goodness. But I mean, okay, so thinking obviously of all the stuff you've invested when it comes to Sinking Road alone, like whether it be from the film or just kind of the reception you've had working on it so far, what has been your favorite aspect of Sinking Road since you've started working on it?
I think like one cheesy thing, because it's like I have a lot of things that I'm happy with the Sinking Road, but one cheesy thing is like I just have the sweetest voice actors and like the sweetest friends like that are around me and like support me and like push this into reality and everything. So it's like, plus with my friends and people now on Twitter and like YouTube and everything and my Discord, they all are just like, every time I'm just like showing work in progress, or I show a big like announcement, like I finished this scene, it spreads around and people are so happy about that, and I'm always incredibly happy about that. I don't think I can get tired of that feeling. So it's like that keeps me going. I'm just like, yep. It's like, I want to do this again. I want to do another scene. I want to finish another scene. I love the feeling, adrenaline. It pumps my blood.
It's amazing how you start something like mainly for yourself. Like, this is something that you probably wanted to see into the world, and then how quickly other people latch onto it, and then it becomes more of a, it's not just me. There are other people that are touched and inspired by this in one way or another. So like, I need to keep going for them.
I think it's crazy that there are like people that make fan characters and fan Dumbledore traits for my world and everything, and I'm like, wow, I could not do any of this without anyone else, and that's like super cheesy to say, but like seriously, it's like if I was just sitting in my own little hut and doing this on my own, I don't think I would keep going. Like.
I mean, hey,
like,
everyone gets inspiration. Everyone gets inspiration from somewhere, and sometimes it's realizing that other people are appreciative of the stuff that you're doing that like helps keep you going. Trust me, there have been times with, I'll be honest with you, there have been times with this podcast where like it's the people that help support me is part of the reason why I want to keep going with this stuff, because you never truly realize. Or at least for me, it's hard for me to sometimes realize that the numbers that you see when it comes to like your subs or your views and stuff like that are actual people that actually do appreciate this stuff and want to see it grow and want to see more of it.
Yeah, and even so, with engagement, for example, even if you like even if like you get this amount of engagement, you're always realizing there are also people that just lurk and watch you from the sidelines and really love what you're doing. And like, it's crazy, like, to think about it that way.
I mean, I was gonna say, before I messaged you to do this interview, that was basically me. I mean,
oh, thank you. I'm shy.
Goodness.
Thank you. That really does mean a lot, because it's like, that's something that like I learned over time, because it's like there are people that I've never seen before that message me and are just like, I've been too scared to tell you this, but I love what you do. And like,
oh, absolutely.
I was like, oh, I easily cry. I'm like emotional, but I just like every time I get a super sweet comment, I'm just like in tears, because I'm like, oh my God, people are so sweet.
I was gonna say, I know with your stuff, I know I've at least shared like you and your stuff with at least one person. And I can think of that person as another former guest that I've had on this podcast. They go by Moose Clown Juice on Twitter, I think, or whatnot. And the only reason why I know is because one of their biggest thing is like clown stuff. Like they love all the clown stuff. So like whenever I had saw your stuff, and especially back then or whatnot, and I saw like your Twitter or whatnot, I instantly made sure I shared it with him to be because I'm like, all right, here's more like, trust me, anytime I see anything to do with any sort of clown or whatnot, he is the first person I message with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, that's so fair. I mean, my friends are the same with me. They see something clowny and they're like, or a person that have a really clown-like art style, they're just like, hey, Baph, look.
I definitely have to introduce his stuff to you as well as there's another VTuber that I want to get on this podcast at some point. They go by you may know them. They go by Biddles, and they're literally like, they're like a
Biddles, my friend.
Oh, okay, so you know her. Awesome.
Yes, I actually have. Biddles is actually a very good friend of mine.
Oh, well, there you go. I'm glad to know.
So if you want me to like hook up, like I mean,
when the time is right, I know that I can get in touch with her. I feel like I can make that a reality.
Oh, she is so like, oh my God.
Absolutely. But I have to know, obviously, like when it comes to Sinking Road, just like as a whole, I mean, obviously you it's not like you're slowing down anytime soon. Like you're going to be working at this hard. You want to make this thing a reality, especially in like 5 years. When it does become a reality, hopefully in 2025, what should people expect from Sinking Road?
Well, hopefully just a fun time and a opening for more things to come.
Especially
because I'm not gonna stop with Sinking Road. That's 100% sure. I mean, I already mentioned it earlier with Broccolina, but there's also like mini projects I want to do in between. Like, for example, every Halloween I make like a mini animation and stuff like that. And so I'm just gonna keep going. Right. So if they enjoy Sinking Road, stick around.
There you go. I was gonna say Sinking Road is not supposed to be the end all be all. It is supposed to be the lowering the bridge to open up the gates to an incredible future dream
lowering
kingdom.
The road, if you will.
Yeah, lowering the road. There you go. Lowering the road to an incredible kingdom that people should step inside and enjoy. Just watch out for the bananas on the ground. You might slip up.
Yeah, exactly, and also the pies that come out of the like hole.
Yeah, be careful where you sit. There's also the whoopee cushions here and there.
Yeah, and also, like, if you see a clown wearing a suspicious flower, run.
And also just when you think you're safe, you just hear behind you just like,
Don't you mean?
Of course I mean that. I appreciate just like how on cue we're basically on with that stuff.
Leave it to the experts, okay?
I apologize. My serious apologies to you and the clown community.
And watch out what I might pull out of here.
It's like I'm unarmed.
But yes, it's like. And I hope that Sinking Road is not just like a one drop, one day, like they watch it and then they forget it. Like I want it stick to people for years to come. Like I want people to like remember it and get inspired and just like watch it over and over. I want it to be rewatchable.
Absolutely. I'm certainly gonna be watching it at least more than once. I'll tell you that. Because like, if nothing else, because I feel like you would be the kind of person that like, especially when like past the main characters, there's gonna be so many details when it comes to like the backgrounds or something like that I have to go back and be like, all right, there's something here. There's something interesting here. What's going on?
I know. If you look at the teaser scene. Was it scene 5? Yes, scene 5. They on her bed there are plushies of characters from things that I like.
Well, there you go.
So yeah, it's like little Easter eggs and stuff like that.
I mean, that's the kind of stuff I always love and crave. But I mean,
yeah,
like you said, Sinking Road is more or less supposed to be like the gateway for people to get in. So I'm curious.
Pretty much.
So I'm curious, like, what if given the opportunity, like just past obviously Sinking Road, like what are some of the projects that you would like to work on past Sinking Road?
Oh my god, I have so many. Don't get me started. Like, oh my god, I have so many ideas. Like, just like naming, like, it's like A Trip to Dreamland, Snowboy, The Clown Circus, The Tree of Seths, Dreamer the Anthology, all these, like, oh my god, I have so many stories.
So basically, you're gonna be animating you have a lot on your plate for years to come.
I think I've planned for my entire life. I think I've planned for at least until I'm 90. It's like, by the time I run out of stories, then I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna lay on my deathbed now, and I'm done. Bye.
And as you lay there, just about to pass the mortal coil and go on to the next life, you're gonna wake up, be like, wait, hold on a second, I have one more idea. Let me write this down.
You're like, wait, I had a dream. Wait, Sonny, I had a dream. I gotta write it down.
That's gonna be your magnum opus in the afterlife. There you go.
It's like while I'm writing it, I just collapse on the table, like. It's like, well, Grandma died.
And like, I know you kind of illustrated this with just kind of the love and appreciation that Sinking Road has gotten, but even thinking like to the community you've developed since you really started animating, like it's gotta blow your mind like how much people like just absolutely love and appreciate what you're doing, even though like you're still like developing like your biggest thing yet.
Oh, it's insane. I mean, that's why I also love making like things in between, because it feels like every time I like drop something like small or anything, it's like they get excited for that too. Plus, it's like it's not like they're just sitting and being like, like sitting and being like, teased by like Sinking Road all the time. It's like they also have other things they can look forward to, like, like. Again, like how every Halloween I try to make something, and like, all of that sort of stuff, like. I think it helps people to like be patient with me, and that helps a lot, honestly.
I mean, seeing what we've seen so far, seeing the incredible work you've already put into this or whatnot, I think I can speak for everyone when I say it'll definitely be worth the wait. I
hope so. Thank you.
And like, let's even go step back further and look at just like the full picture of everything. Like thinking back to just like from obviously when you've started like being influenced by animation and such, like in different aspects, such like Alice in Wonderland, to like going full force into like animation when it comes to like DeviantArt and like teaching yourself how to do this stuff, to all the work that you've put into everything, all the characters that you've created, especially when it comes to Sinking Road. Like thinking to your art journey as a whole, does it amaze you how far you've been able to develop as an artist?
Oh, I'm really proud of myself when I think about that. And like I do suffer a bit from like, self-esteem issues where I feel like I can't praise myself too much, because then I feel like I'm being egotistical or like things like that. But it's like I am honestly proud of myself, and I think it helps that I have people around me, close to me, that are just like, I'm proud of you, like my parents are just like, I'm proud of you, and like they support what I'm doing, even though it's not making me much, like money or anything. It's like they're proud of me and they want me to be happy. That's what matters to them.
again, I can't believe I'm going to be doing this, but I relate so much when it comes to that, because part of the reason, part of the reason I've been able to keep this podcast going is like the fact that I got support from like my parents and stuff like that. The fact that I'm able to be here, have my own like little personal space to be able to do these interviews and stuff like that. And my dad instantly recognizes like, hey, you're doing something that, you're proud of. You're doing something that like, fulfills you more than anything else, and you don't have to really worry about a whole bunch of other stuff. Like, keep going with it, because I can tell you actually love doing this.
Oh, that's super sweet, honestly. Like, it helps to have that parental like acceptance and like
and it's super
kindness.
It's super rewarding more than anything else to know that, like, if to recognize that if no one else recognized and loved what you were doing or whatnot, you at least know that there's at least one person in the other room right now that recognizes and loves what you're doing, even if they haven't watched much of it.
Exactly. And like I feel that also with my closest friends and my fiance, especially because my fiance was actually, I should say, like, my fiance was actually the one to push me to try and make my stories like more like, basically, like, it just helped me a lot and just pushed me to just get where I am, and it's awesome. And I mean, that's why I want to marry it. Like,
there you go. It's like, if nothing else, it definitely gave you like the motivation to really go forth and make this a reality, instead of just like, oh, it'd be cool if this would be a cool thing to do. Like, give you that little
exactly.
I'm so glad,
because I know that it's like, I know that somebody will love it, and that's what matters to me.
Amen to that. Well,
yes.
Well, Baphomet, we have been talking so much when it comes to just your art and your animation and stuff like that, and some of the incredible stuff you've been developing. But for this next question, if I may, I want to go a little bit above and beyond, if I can, and give you more or less the dream scenario, if I may. Let's say I am Big Shot Mr. Moneybags. I come up to him like, look, Baphomet, we know you can do some incredible stuff. We've been one of those lurkers in the background. We've seen the incredible stuff you've been able to develop, and we feel like there's something incredible here. You just need that little extra push, a little extra platform to really make a reality more than anything else. We have access to anyone and everyone in whatever industry possible, and more money than there should be possible. We should really be making sure that the artists and writers are compensated and stuff like that. Writer strike, stay strong with them more than anything else. But we'll focus on them in a little bit. Right now, we are focusing on you and you alone. If given this opportunity, what would be the dream Baphomet the Clown project?
That is such a good question, because I have no idea. I do not think about the future too much, because the future terrifies me.
Again, valid.
But I will say this. I hope I can continue to do what I'm doing right now, maybe with a bit of help, if I find that I have the like maturity and the strength to basically, I guess, like, handle being like the director of like other people,
right?
And be a good director. Like, I would hate to be a bad one. Like,
well, I mean, I imagine, at least at this point, like, for you to be a good director, you have to practice being a director in the first place. Just like how you, as an animator, had to get good at animating by constantly practicing animation for Lord knows how many years at this point. Like,
being my own director does help to practice a bit, but it's like I know my own limits. But for now, it's like, if I can just keep doing what I'm doing, even if it's just on my own for all of eternity, like, if people support me and like that, and want to, like, keep me like afloat with that would be the dream. I mean, plus I would like love to collaborate with, for example, like I guess, like, making merchandise and stuff like that, obviously, plushies of the Sinking Road cast right now. But like stuff like that, but other than that, it's like, honestly, as long as I'm in a good state of mind and I'm doing what I love to do and people support that, that's what I want. That's my dream.
You know what? Fair enough. I mean, hey, it doesn't have to be exuberant, over the top, like corporate overlord kind of thing or whatnot. If all you really want is to be able to just reinforce and make your dreams more or less a reality, then like fuck it, we'll be more than happy to provide that space. We'll give you the official Poundtownhound studio. How about that? Like you can do whatever you want.
Musician, Baphomet. Animator, Baphomet. Director, Baphomet. Voice actors, there's like, 1,000 of them at that point, with all the different stories.
Yeah. Colorist, maybe someone else. We might get
probably my neighbor Jimmy.
Special thanks, that dog down the street. You really motivated me.
Shout out to my 5 cats. Beating on me every day. They're telling me a good job even though you can't speak and not understand what I'm doing.
There you go. Oh, goodness. But sadly, we gotta get down from the dream scenario. We gotta get back to reality. And I know this question is gonna scare you, but...
Oh, there goes gravity.
Yep, there goes gravity. Mom's spaghetti. And I know this question is going to scare you, but I have to ask the ever so generic question. Where do you hope to see yourself, say, 5 to 10 years from now?
I'm done with Sinking Road by then.
That's a good start. That's a very good start.
Yes, exactly. Then I'm hoping that by then I've also begun and is far along on a trip to Dreamland. And also that I still have all my closest friends and my fiance and all the people in my life close to me, still in my life, to support me.
There you go.
And hopefully at that point, I also have enough on Patreon to make it my living.
There you go. That's a good thing to aspire for.
The moolah! Give it to me!
Money. There you go. There you go. I mean, still, like, just being able to just continue what you're doing and have that love and support around you and whatnot, that's all anyone could ask for. That's all we can ask for. As we start to wind down the interview, I just have one last question I want to ask you, Baphomet. Obviously, you've been deeply entrenched in art for ages. I'm assuming for as long as you can remember, considering the fact that you didn't tell me a specific, like, this is when I first remember, like, art and animation and stuff like that. Like, for as long as you can remember, you've been deeply entrenched in art. How important is art, not just for you, but for the world as a whole?
Oh my gosh. I think, honestly, art... made by people, I should say.
Trust me, there ain't none of that AI shit here, okay?
Thank God! But I never take you for that kind of person, I'll tell you that.
Yep.
But art made by people and everything, animation especially, it's honestly immensely important because I feel like not just like in a world where it's like everything wants to put you down and everything wants to put you into reality and society. Do what you were born to do, work and everything. It's like, I think art and animation and everything just puts you in a completely different realm. And that's what we need in life. Like it's especially with animation and storytelling by other people, it's like you can tell the love that goes into it, and that can motivate you, even for things that are completely unrelated.
Yeah,
and absolutely. it just brightens your day, like that's just what we need in the world.
Absolutely. And that is wonderfully worded, if I do say so myself.
I'm glad.
Baphomet, that is all the questions that I have for you. I've already showered you with a whole bunch of praise, but I want to shower you with a little bit more because it's my podcast. I do what the fuck I want.
Well, god damn it.
Like I said... shit! No.
Oh my god!
No, but in all seriousness, Baphomet, ever since I had, like I said before, whenever I was first introduced to your stuff, thanks to that indie animation pitch night earlier this year and whatnot, like ever since I first saw Sinking Road, I was absolutely in love with it. I love the art style. I love the art style that you presented with it. I love the characters that you presented. I could tell it was something special. And then, like I said before, hearing that you were the only one doing the animation and stuff like that, I knew you were a person that I couldn't help but instantly love and admire, and someone that I definitely wanted to talk to when it comes to this podcast. Getting a chance to sit down and talk to you, like, this conversation has been just as incredible, if not more incredible than I anticipated. You certainly brought that energy that I was anticipating, and like, and like, obviously hearing the love and passion that you have for these projects, for these characters that you have, whether it's stuff that came to you in a dream or like the actual people that love and support you, like, or surround you or whatnot, that make this a reality that is leading to, honestly, some of the most unique and incredible content that I'm seeing out there. Like, it makes me more and more excited. Like, I already had a good level of love and respect for you, but it's like just through the roof. Like, the rain is coming in because of how much has gone through the roof at this point. Like, it makes me excited and ecstatic to see what you're going to be doing next, because I know that no matter how long it takes, what you're going to be putting out there is going to be some top-notch quality stuff that I cannot get enough of. Long and the short of it, thank you, Baphomet, for doing what you do. Thank you for putting yourself into this world for so many ages. Thank you for putting yourself out there like this. And please, 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 please keep up the incredible work, because you're doing some outstanding stuff, and it makes me excited to see what stuff you're going to be putting out there next. So thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me on. Seriously, any sort of exposure that someone like me and like the entire indie animation community can get, all of it matters, no matter what. And it seriously means a lot. Your praise, it's gonna stick to me like glue.
I hope it sticks, all right? Because, like, more than anything else, like,
I can't get it off.
I was gonna say, I certainly hope it sticks, because if nothing else, like I said, I'm going to continue and show you that love and support, like, with everything that you do, like, because I'm legitimately excited. Like, don't get me wrong, every guest I've had on here, I cannot get enough of what they do, and I'm excited. But this is legitimately like one of the top 3 things I am excited for whenever this thing does become a reality, okay?
Thank you so much. Oh, absolutely. That really means a lot. I hope it will be worth people's time. I hope that the journey also is like fun to follow, and that it's not just like a bore to just wait for me to finish.
Look, people have been waiting 3 years at this point, all right? If they're not bored at this point, they won't be bored for the next 2 or so, however many it is, okay?
Well, then maybe I can wait. Maybe I can wait 10 years then. Okay, that's good.
Hey, you know what? As long as it produces some top quality stuff, I completely understand. I mean, I think I can, you know, I think I can find, you know, something to wait for 10 years for. I think I can.
Nah, I promise you, I'm aiming for 25, and if not 25, close. Yeah. So,
I mean, at the end of the day, obviously, first and foremost, take care of yourself. Like, don't work yourself too hard, obviously.
I promise I'm not.
But also, secondly,
if anything, my mental health gets better by animating.
There you go. And I was gonna say, and obviously, second of all, like, please don't try to rush this thing to, like, make it a reality. Like, I'm sure you've seen enough media out there to where when people rush what they're trying to do, it's not good. It's not good at all.
I honestly learned from Cuphead that taking your time, best thing you can do.
There you go. That is incredible. But if people want to know what exactly I'm just gushing over and over and over and over about at this point, go ahead and plug your stuff for the people at home.
Well, my brain.
Let's plug the brain in.
Yes, I gotta plug the brain in. Okay, so on YouTube, I am called poundtoundhound. You can find me there. I post all sorts of random stuff, but mostly animation and some other silly things. And whenever there's gonna be a big animation on there, you will see it there. So keep the notification on and stuff. On Twitter, you can find me looking at or posting works in progress of Sinking Road and other stuff, miscellaneous art, miscellaneous characters. You'll be engulfed in my world there. There you go. And then I have a NeoCities, poundtownhound.neocities. Was it org? I don't remember. Anyway, I'll probably send the link to you.
There you go.
And a Patreon. And that should be it.
I was going to say, if you did miss any links, I'll be sure to have them linked in the description below. Though I would appreciate that NeoCities link to make sure I get that one right.
Oh, yeah. That's like basically my purpose.
There you go. There you go. Do you have any final words before we sign off? quite the most intelligent words from the wonderful thespians out there.
You're welcome.
And with that, all I have left to say is for the people at home, pay your artists. Please pay your artists.
Yes. Pay your artists or I'm coming to your house.
And she's loaded with the horn. Don't test her.
I'm coming.
Tell me what's wrong, tell me sparks in motion. Sing me a song, tell me your eyes can all open. Show me it all, put me up in the car you drove when you used to call. Show me it all.
Thank you so much for sticking around to the end. If this is your first time listening, I cannot thank you enough for getting up to this point. Like I said, especially for those that are keeping up with this in real time, once again, sincerely, thank you for being patient with me when I took my little break. Like I said, at that point, I was just a little creatively burnt out, and I just needed to take a step back and breathe, especially with everything that was kind of going on at the time. But I'm slowly getting back into the flow of things. Words are wonderful, aren't they? I'm getting back to the flow of things, and I think this episode really helped with that. Baphomet, if you got to this point, sincerely, thank you so much for the opportunity to talk to you. And guys, I was dead serious when I said in the episode that this is one of the most anticipated projects I want to see. Just the amount of creativity that Baphomet is putting into this stuff is something that is absolutely worth paying attention to more than anything else. And especially with just indie animation as a whole, that's why I wanted to make sure that I had this episode come out on this day in particular. And Baphomet, seriously, keep up the incredible work, because I fucking love the work that you're putting in. But back to indie animation, ever since I've gotten into this whole entire artist realm thing with the podcast, it's really opened my eyes to just how incredible people are and the incredible ideas and concepts that people are going forth and going out of their way just to make a reality. And that's why I will always champion indie animation whenever I can. And that's why I am more than happy to show that love and support on Indie Animation Day whenever I can. Seriously, to any animator out there that seems discouraged that no one is paying attention to their stuff, there are people that are paying attention to what you're doing. There are people that are excited and amped for every little thing that you put out there, and I sincerely hope that you take the opportunity to put everything you can into it. I know it's not going to be easy. Not everything is going to be hyped up to the nth degree. Not everything is going to be funded immediately like some of these incredible indie animation projects out there. But that doesn't mean that there isn't an audience. That doesn't mean that there's no one that cares. There are people out there that truly want to see, truly love, and truly care about what you're pushing out there. And they want to see it come to fruition and truly make it the creative vision that you want it to be. If nothing else, at the end of the day, always think about what you want to see out there. If nothing else, think about all the incredible ideas that you just want to see out there in the world. I mean, if you're not the one that's going to be pushing out there, who is? And I know you got some incredible ideas. I've been seeing all these indie animation stuff. I cannot tell you how excited I am for the future of indie animation, one way or another. And I sincerely hope that we are able to bring each other up and hype each other up for all these incredible ideas and opportunities. That's what Indie Animation Day is all about. Just seeing incredible ideas, seeing progress of some fun ideas, and seeing it potentially being provided to the fullest. And that's why I said, like I said before, I will always be championing whenever I see indie animation and showcasing it as best as I can and showing that love to the world. Because you guys, the audience as a whole, you guys need to see this. You guys need to love and appreciate it. At the end of the day, these ideas need to be seen. So go forth out there and keep creating incredible stuff.